Today we're going to talk about emotion in photography. And no, I'm not going to cry. Let me know in the comments if you have ever taken a photograph that just sort of resonated with you, and it might not work for anybody else, but you know, for you, you knew absolutely immediately that this was the photograph of your trip or of your year. I'm also curious to know if you think there's anything in this photograph, and we're going to talk about this photograph captured on my Leica iiif with the Elmar, and using this gorgeous FP4. So if you've got a few minutes, let's talk about emotion in photography. This photograph was taken a year ago in Vienna, and the interesting thing about this photograph is, you know, a year on, it still raises those emotions inside me. And at the time, I knew there was something with this photograph that at least resonated with me, because sometimes we can attach emotion to photographs because we've put loads of work into it, you know, to get the photograph. And so for us, we find value in the photograph, but the viewer might not. But this photograph, at the time, I remember I had absolutely no time to get settings right, to change anything. I just had to take the photograph. So I was crossing over this road, blizzard conditions, real icy, cold wind in my face. Hardly anybody around, because it was a lot worse than it had been earlier in the morning. And I was crossing this bridge in Vienna, and I just looked up into the blizzard conditions, and I saw this solitary figure starting to make his way across the bridge. And the background was hardly visible through the blizzard conditions, and the wind was howling. It was making this crazy sound. And I had my Zoom H1N recording, trying to get the sounds of, you know, the wind going through the trees howling, and I was making crazy sounds through the bridge, and there was just nobody about. And I saw it, and the solitary figure was right in the middle of my frame, and I knew that this was the shot, you know. I know we can project our feelings onto photographs as well, and you have to be careful with that, because the viewer might not see anything in the photograph. But for me at the time, I was making some pretty huge, exciting but huge changes in my life, and you know, those sorts of things, only you can walk that walk alone. I think you can get advice from everybody, you can have your mentor, you can do all these things, but in the end, you have to walk the walk. And that's what this photograph, for me, captures. Solitary figure, trying to get somewhere, sticking to the plan, determined to get through these conditions, the current conditions, and just putting the head down and being determined and driving on with it and getting it done, you know. And this photograph, I think, captures all of that. I've got the photograph here in front of me on the screen, and you know, for me, there's really no distractions here. So, you know, the blizzard gives you this wonderful sort of blanket that makes everything else sort of white or faded, and then what you have is this solitary figure dressed in all black with a black cap, high black collar, and you know, even I think the shape of the coat and the outline is just wonderful. And I think definitely having FP4 as the film stock is something that made this photo absolutely pop, you know. The blacks are always super rich, and I just love the contrast you get from Ilford's FP4, and so I think that definitely helped really just silhouette the figure against you know, that background. I think as well, the fact that the figure's walking away from me as well kind of gave that feeling of, you know, leaving things behind that have to be left behind, and, you know, making your way on your journey that you have to make. And I think, you know, absolutely, that I just felt it in my gut. This was the photograph, actually, and I just prayed that that it would come out. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way it came out. I developed this in Rodinal 50:1, and yeah, it's gorgeous. You know, I mean, FP4 and Rodinal for me is like dream combination. And yeah, just wonderful black tones and right through to greys and whites, and yeah, it's super. Howling wind, lonely walk, blistering blizzard, steady stalk, iced eyes, burning cheeks, up I glance to where I seek, head down, push on, future's dawn, beneath the blizzard scorn, will's anchor, strong and warm.